back. WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and Baltimore Positive. We are keeping calm. We're staying local. You know what? I have this guy on every week, and I'm usually wearing my Raskin Global shirt when I'm not my Liberty Pure shirt, and I'm wearing that, and you should drink clean water as well. Leonard Raskin joins us now from Raskin Global. Leonard, the only thing I have to promote in front of me right now that's yours are the investments. So I want to have a little bit of fun with your investments because I have them on the set here, and they sort of jingle and jangle. My cat knocked them off the office desk and really had a pretty good time with them the other day. She didn't chew them. She just sort of knocked them around. But, I think keeping some sort of sense of humor here, even though you spelled mint wrong, but it is a tasty mint on your investments. We're all trying to stay somewhat normalized here. We're getting into 3 weeks where every day, as you've pointed out, ends in a DAY, but they all start to feel the same. And I think for people in the money world like you just sort of chase the little ticker up and down every day until 4 o'clock, right?
Well, we certainly see it. And let's face it, our clients are noticing it. Most people have done the right thing. They've hung in there. They recognize that it goes up and down. They recognize, obviously, recently we've seen more down. Last week saw some good up, so that's always good. And we don't have anybody pulling the trigger saying, hey, get me out, which is, I guess, a testament to our work over the last 30 years. We make sure people understand that their portfolios are balanced and are prepared for this kind of shock. And what you're supposed to do now as an investor is rebalance. So you're supposed to have equities. You're supposed to have fixed income. You're supposed to have reserve liquidity. This will put your plan to the test times like these. And for the people that we advise, they know that right now their liquidity is serving them very well, that we're rebalancing accounts. So we are actually moving fixed income into the equity world. And we just remind people this is what buying low feels like. It's not always easy, doesn't always feel great, but in the long run, this too shall pass. Markets will recover, and when they do, buying low will have been the best strategy you could have employed to take advantage of. When it comes up, you bought a whole bunch low. So that's the current advice, and that's what people need to make sure that their advisors are working with them to make sure their plan is working the way it was intended.
What about the people who don't have any money? What about the people that are waiting for this $1,200? What about the people that are filing for unemployment? What about the people that are feeling like they're a long way from calling Raskin Global and feeling like, I got to hold on to the end of the month. Maybe I have a 401k. Is now a time to take advantage of the fact that they're not going to penalize me for doing such things and paying off bills that I had prior to the fact when the world started to collapse around us in the last 3-4 weeks?
Yeah, great question. Great question. The thing to think about now, if you're in that situation, is money is coming. If you qualify for what the Treasury is throwing out, which is money from heaven and money from everywhere, you'll get your check, and there's nary a mortgage company, a rental company, a utility, a cell phone that's going to bill you extra or turn you off right now because you haven't paid them this month. So I'd pick up the phone and I would call my landlord, my bank, my car payment, my lender, and let them know, hey, this is my situation. They know checks are coming. Most everybody is already committed to not turn things off, not charge extra fees, allow forbearance of loans, whatever it may be. I would just call to confirm. And then I think the biggest thing that people have to recognize if you're in that situation is when that check comes, you better use it for the stuff that it's intended to be used for, and that is to pay those bills and do the things you have to do, because the bills aren't going away. They're just being deferred.
Well, this has been a wake-up call for everybody, right? Like, you could sort of get by until there is no paycheck, there is no job. I mean, we're talking about 30% of the culture right now, Leonard. I mean, everyone's scrambling and looking for some sort of advice, if not some shelter, to say, all right, what is my plan if this goes on 60 days, 90 days, 120 days? This was never going to be a 15-day plan. We're now seeing that this might be a 180-day plan, right? I mean, when we're talking about the baseball season being shut down and if there will be football and if there will be concerts and if there will be public gatherings, boy, I guess we never really realized how many things are a public gathering, right? Like every
Absolutely.
meal we eat sort of kind of that's not in our home is some sort of public gathering.
Absolutely. And there's nobody that can tell you when it's going to come back and when you're going to go back. Things might start up slowly, but on a national level, things aren't starting up. On a local level, you got the mayors, the county executives, the governor all mandating when things can go back. So there's no crystal ball that says when that's going to happen. Nobody has it. What we do know is this economy was raging strong before all this hit. It will be raging strong again. It will be different for sure. Anytime something like this shocks the economy, shocks the system, it's going to be different. I think, as you said, it exposes a lot, both in the small market and the big market. You know, when we're seeing companies make decisions to change their manufacturing to help, it's a magnificent testament to capitalism and to American ingenuity that companies that were making cars yesterday are making ventilators today. Companies that were making sheets and pillowcases yesterday are making masks and protective gear for doctors and nurses today.
Stuff our parents told us about, right?
Absolutely. You know, let's face it, for our little kids, for your kids, teenagers, young kids, whatever, this will be the event that when they get old, they walk backwards up the hill both ways to school in the snow. This will be, you know, I had to stay home for a month, and my parents, your grandparents, we couldn't leave the house. We had to stay home. We couldn't go outside. We couldn't go to school. We couldn't play with our friends. You know, it's going to be all that. But if you think about it on the other hand, I think one of the things that people can certainly do right now, and I'm no psychiatrist, psychologist, but one of the things that I live in and you live in with Baltimore Positive is there is no better time than right now to have that attitude about things. Let's face it. Had this been when you and I were kids, we'd have been in the house with 3 channels on the TV. You'd have food in the house, and you'd have been playing board games and cards all day, and you'd have been bored sick. I mean,
well, I was an only
Netflix.
child, too, so it would have just been me and my mom hanging out. I had scarlet fever when I was a kid for 2 weeks. It was the week that Reagan got elected president, so it was 1980, 81, you know, and I remember just being stuck in the house. Kids couldn't come in. I had to wave out the way. You know, it was all for 2 weeks or whatever, you know, but it felt like an eternity when you're 12, right?
And you got to think, man, this is to be positive. You got Netflix, you got the internet, you can download books, you can download movies, you can watch whatever you want, you can binge whatever show.
You can see the great leadership of Larry Hogan every day trying to lead us out of this mess.
There you go. I mean, look, there's so much to do, and it's not as if, you know, you don't have everything and anything at your disposal. Yeah, you can't go out and hang out with your friends, but you can do a Zoom meeting with 30 of them. You know, you can have everybody on the screen talking to each other. You can laugh together. You can make fun of this.
You could do what my friend Shelby Rassler did, which from Berkeley Music could put together a conservatory symphony across the world doing, a Burt Bacharach number, you know? So
absolutely.
You can do those kind of things.
There's amazing opportunity here. And for those that are out of work and you had that, here's another thing I would tell you. If you're out of work, you're looking for where that next paycheck's coming from or if it's coming, and you've always had an idea. You've always thought, if I could just get together and start this business or sell this. You know, somebody sold a pet rock, man. Come on. If I've got that idea right now in my head that I've been thinking about, Small Business Administration is throwing money around for people to become entrepreneurs right now. There is no better time to take a risk, to take a chance when this turns than to open your storefront and say, I am X, whatever X is. There was a guy back when, you know, I think his name was Steve Jobs. I think that's who he was. You know, he didn't make something people said they needed. He made something people now can't live without. So if you got that idea.
In a garage with a buddy.
Yeah. You think, man, I got this idea, and I think people would love it. They'd want to have this thing or this service, whatever it is. Now is the time to put paper to pencil and SBA in your pocket and get a loan and get out there and get started, man. This is going to change the way America does business. Supply chains are going to come back to this country. Manufacturing is going to come back to this country. All kinds of great things are going to happen. It's a horrible, stimulus that's going to cause it, this coronavirus. But my goodness, the other side of this is magnificent upside of American business, and that's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm looking forward to. I'm not. I mean, look, you can count the deaths every day. That just makes you sick. Stop it. Just look at what could happen, and look at the great companies doing great things. That's what this is all about right now.
Leonard Raskin joining us here from Raskin Global. You can find him out at raskinglobal.com. All sorts of seminars and webinars and videos and stuff about your money. I want to go backwards here, and this is not partisan on my part because this went across both aisles, but insider trading from inside the Congress, dumping hundreds of millions of dollars of stock on the notion and the thought, whether it was Feinstein on the Democratic side, several other people on the Republican side. You're in the money business. You're in the inside. You're in the business of ethics and where a stock's going to go, and betting on what's going to happen in industry. That was a sickening little piece of news amidst the pandemic last week, wasn't it, Leonard?
Well, yeah, it was a really bad visual, a very bad visual. I would say this until. And the Department of Justice is now starting an investigation into that. But until we know, and this is not to excuse any behavior, believe me, I think it's disgusting. But until we know exactly what they sold and potentially what they bought, if they sold all the hotel, airline, cruise ship kind of stocks and bought pharmaceuticals and medical supply and whatever, that would be triply horrible. If they were selling stocks and moving to bonds and out of the market, that would also be pretty horrible. But if they were buying stock A, selling stock B, just happened to make a lot of money, that's routine and regular, and maybe they sold a little more than they might have a month before. It's just hard to know. The other thing I would say, and this is something that if you dig deep under the covers, unfortunately, this happens way too often.
Well, that's what I'm feeling like. I'm feeling like this is the unpunished crime of wealth in our country, that if you wink, wink, know a little something, something, and happen to, be in on government and happen to know that the latest civic project's going to be going over there, and you want to buy a little land over there, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I mean, that's going on, and it shouldn't be going on.
Fortunes have been made from what you just said in this town, county, city, state, and every other across the country forever. That's probably not going to stop. The stock trading's a different animal simply because it's public and there's rules and regulations against it, where there aren't necessarily against these other things. But there are deals made that those in government, those in power, have the opportunity to take advantage of that the rest of the public does not, that they do all too often. And as long as they're making the rules and don't make it illegal, it's not going to stop. For us, it's illegal. For them, it's part and parcel to the job. Nobody spends millions and millions and millions of dollars to be in office to make $200,000 a year, not knowing that there are perks of the job that they may choose to take advantage of. Just my skeptical opinion of government in whole.
Well, that's fine. I mean, it's been well worn and well played out. It sounds to me like you've been paying attention, Leonard Raskin.
It's proven over and over that it's the case, and for a long, long time. And I don't see it stopping, as I said, because those that make the rules aren't going to make the rules against themselves to change the game.
All right. Well, we'll take a break and a breather on that. When we get together next week, we'll pretend all of this isn't happening. We'll just talk Ravens. We can't pretend, though, right? I mean, we can't ever. This is no time to have our head in the sand, for sure, right?
No, certainly not. And on a lighter and more fun note, I know they're. I don't want to say they're competition necessarily, but one of the things I've been really enjoying in the last, I guess, couple weeks now, is this bit they've been doing on SportsCenter on ESPN. Our friends over there are doing this seniors. Have you seen the seniors they're doing? The senior stuff?
No, I have not.
So people are sending in videos. I think Scott Van Pelt started this, and people are sending in videos from all across the country, high schools and colleges, where seniors who have had the last sporting season of their life
had
at school
taken away, right?
Taken away, sending in videos of this team that was 24-1, that never won a state championship, that this year was on the verge of it all, and here's the two seniors that are on the team that have been losers for 3 years and now are winning it all, and they didn't go to their state championship.
That's awesome.
But they're acknowledging seniors from all across the country, and it's about the only sports enjoy that's kind of out there happening that was in real time and giving these kids just great acknowledgement for some great accomplishments. And I think, again, in this time of woe is me and oh my God, we could certainly take some more positive and say, hey, these kids deserve to be acknowledged, and I think they're doing a great job of that in the sports world.
Leonard, I'll do anything but watch esports. I'm not doing that, all right?
Yeah, what the heck
I don't want to know. You know, I have bigger concerns than playing video games at this point, but I am looking forward to, having a ball dribble or a puck shot or a, bat crack of the bat or the pop of the mitt. And we need something.
I did see recently somewhere, a couple places in the country, they're still racing horses.
Well,
there's still some horse racing going on, and some, I don't remember the name, didn't catch the name, but some horse qualified for the Kentucky Derby in September this weekend. Kind of wild.
3-year-olds are going to be 4-year-olds by the time we run the race, So.
They may be. What do they do about that? Do they run 3-year-olds? Do they allow 4-year-olds? What's the rules here?
I don't think it's like the senior year where you get, I think you can get redshirted.
You think you get some extra eligibility if your third year was you turned 4 in June, but you're going to race in September? You think you get that eligibility?
You know what? I'm going to ask Baffert. I'll text Baffert with that. That's a good question to ask, and I'll get him on the show next week. I'm trying to come up with a list of who the people I need to have on the air about sports are. Because I'm having a lot of business people like yourself, local people here. It's so important to be local. I think we're hyper-local at this particular point. So I've kind of let that alone. But that is a heck of a question as to what do all of them do, because I'm not paying attention. I just know we're not running a Preakness here in 6 weeks, which is a bummer.
Right. Well, have they even determined that yet?
Yes.
I haven't seen.
We've moved everything.
They have said it's going to be 2 weeks after Derby?
No, I don't. That's not official.
But, no, I said, I've heard they've canceled for now, but Derby's in September. But I haven't heard
that puts the Preakness in October somewhere. Yeah, I would say,
a couple
right?
Weeks out there in September, we could have Ravens opening day and the Preakness on the same weekend.
At least the Orioles won't lose 100 this year. I'm going to keep going back to that. We're Baltimore positive. That's what I'm going to keep doing. That's a positive part, right?
There you go. They're not going to lose 100. I'm with you.
Raskin Global, the way to find Leonard Raskin. You're doing webinars and stuff. Tell me about the latest webinar. I know it's live on Tuesday, but it'll be up there for folks.
Yeah, latest webinars on all the government acts. The government has just come out with 3 phases of relief, as we talked about a little earlier, for people that are unemployed, for business owners, for individuals. IRA rules change, tax rule change, when you file, where you file. It's going to be myself. We're going to have a CPA on the call. We're going to have a banker on the call. It's an opportunity to get out and understand what's coming and how to take advantage of these moving targets that the government keeps throwing money at, and make sure that you've shored up your current plan. We're here to make sure that everybody has the financial future they hope, dream, and desire, and we want to make it happen. And this is not the time to have it fall apart because you weren't aware of some opportunity that was right there for you.
When April 15th isn't even April 15th anymore, we're on a tilted axis here.
Absolutely.
Leonard Raskin, you can find him. He's everywhere out on LinkedIn, but you can find him at raskinglobal.com. They're right up in Hunt Valley. And I will keep the investments nearby, Leonard. I appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming on.
Talk to you soon.
There he goes, Raskin Global and Leonard Raskin, our friend, and we've traveled with him to Ravens games in New Orleans and London and other places, and he helps with smart strategies for your whole life. Raskin Global, that's an investment, not an investment. Nasty at WNST.net finds me. We are WNST.net. We are keeping calm, we are staying local, and we are somewhere out here, Baltimore positive.